sir.
Perfect. All right, yeah, it's a couple minutes after 9 o'clock. Happy Merry New Year to everybody. I know it's the first meeting of the year, and I know everybody's excited to get 2021 going and put 2020 behind us. Welcome and good morning. For those of you, I know there might be some new people on here, but basically this is the alternative real estate investment meeting. We touch upon anything and everything having to do with real estate, except for tenants and toilets, okay? We kind of keep this sort of open forum. We do have a separate meeting for landlords if you want to talk about tenants and toilets to your heart's ever so content. That is going to be next week at this time. Also doing that on Zoom, and then which Leon is going to go over here in a minute. Where we also have the general meeting that we do. This meeting we do twice a month. First Thursday in the morning, third Thursday in the evening, and then the landlord meeting is the second Thursday in the morning and the fourth Thursday in the evening. And then the general meeting is going to be in the evening. We basically do it that way because most people in the mornings work and they can't all get on there. I know I had people texting me, some of them wanted to get on while they're at work, trying not to get in trouble. And I'm like, listen, we do have an evening meeting. So at least that way people can participate. I am going to actually turn it over to Leon here real quick before we get started, because I know you wants to go over the meeting that we're going to be having next week. So Leon, it's all yours.
Thank you very much. And yeah, we want to talk about a couple items. We'll start off with holiday party. I think that was probably our last meeting that we had in 2020. I know, like most folks, 2020 was one of those challenging years, and so I'm happy that it's behind me. Let's put it that way. And clearly, we're having some more challenges right now, but I think being resourceful, we'll work our way through those. So, holiday party. We didn't have as many people as we would have liked, but we had a great time. I know there was some technical difficulties, and of course we apologize for that. Basically we had a lot of prizes. I want to thank the vendors for providing the prizes. We got some from Home Depot. We got some from Glidden, and you can see a couple of the vendors there: Steve Peterson, Pat Gallagher, pretty much all of the vendor members gave something so that we could give away prizes. And Steve Peterson was one of the people who gave away prizes. Some of them were prizes that you could say were smaller. Some were larger if you're looking at it from the standpoint of the monetary amount. But the key thing is that we had a group of folks, and each holiday party we have, the vendors make sure that we have prizes to give out. And so it was a great evening. We had some technical difficulties, and we'll work our way through that because we're using a new product and that allowed us to do somewhat of a Zoom meeting, but not really a Zoom meeting from the standpoint that it didn't operate exactly like that, but you could converse with people and everyone could be in a room, and basically when you got close to each other, you would be able to talk to that particular person. So really hope that next year we'll be able to have an in-person meeting, and if we don't, we'll at least have had some practice doing the virtual meeting that we had this past year. um, past holiday party. So one of the things that I wanted to mention, and Joe mentioned it somewhat, is that on every second Thursday evening, we have our general meeting. That's all virtual now because of the COVID-19 is not allowing us to get together in face to face, in person. So the topic that we've selected for the upcoming general meeting is one I think that most people will be interested in. And seeing that we haven't gotten a lot of, as I indicated earlier, a lot of information out about it, I would ask everyone that's on the call to help us communicate the fact that the general meeting that's coming up is going to be associated with private lending. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to simplify, for sake of better words, private lending. We're going to go over basically what it is, because I know people have different thoughts and ideas about what it is, why you want to use private lending, who are the private lenders. We may tell you a couple of folks who do it, and when do you use it? You know, basically, when is it appropriate to be used? And because it's like most things can't be used in all situations. And then we're going to go through some real examples. So I'm not going to be the person that's going to be providing all that information. I'm going to have at least 3 other people. Mr. Joe Lababera, as you would guess, Joe McGuire. And I know I could always say that he's a private lender. He does some private lending. And the other person is going to be Steve Peterson. So that from a legal perspective, if you have questions around, can you do this and can you do that? Basically, Steve will be able to help with that, as well as provide some insight around some of the things that people are doing today. So I think it'll be a great session. I think it'll be one where, well, let me just put it this way. I hope at the end of the session, we will have demystified private lending. And it's something that people can look at and say, wow, I can actually do that. So that's the objective anyway. And so that's all I have from that perspective. Any questions from anyone? I mean, we got a fairly small group. We can address any specific questions or concerns people have, or is there anything in particular that you might want to have us covered that I haven't talked about? Okay, we got a quiet group today. So if I would have said, you know, there is this way that you can get private lending, use private lending, and it was going to only cost 2% money, would you be interested?
All day long.
All day long. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer to that part. So, well, I do, but pretty hard to make that happen, but it's certainly possible. The other thing I want to mention is that we're looking at, did you mention that Scott Spear was going to be on the call? Is he actually on?
I think he's on. I was actually going to introduce him too, because he also co-hosts this call with us.
He's hiding. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, he's in the camper. But he's muted. Unmute yourself, Scott.
There we go, unmuted. There we go. Hey guys and girls, everybody.
Hello, how you doing this morning?
Scott.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah. So I mentioned Scott because he's going to be doing a general meeting session around Rochester self-storage. And, you know, I like to give things titles and stuff. So Rochester self-storage and beyond. So that's the title. And basically he's gonna give you information around how you do self-storage here in the Rochester area. And he's in California or wherever, somewhere on the West Coast. and basically, one of the things that he's doing is traveling across these here United States, picking up self-storage units as he sort of drives around in his camper.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that. We haven't locked down specifically the date, but it'll be probably not February, but March or April. I think at that time, Scott is going to be back here in Rochester, and we'll pick a time when he's here. And we're working on a couple of other items that will make our second Thursday general meeting session be things that you really want to attend and get very valuable information from. So
Yeah, the one thing that'll help me is if somebody has questions or things about self-storage, send those to Susan, and then she can give them to me and I can cover them during my session when we decide to do it, whether it's April or May or, but if you have questions about self-storage or anything like that, email them to Susan, then she'll get them to me. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, Scott. We really appreciate your providing information to folks and helping us to network with individuals and provide very valuable information that they really can't get through virtually any other source. So,
and not to interrupt you, Leon, but if anybody has questions on private lending, also send them because we will have answers for any questions that come up. Because I think for a lot of people in the group, especially right now with who knows what the economy is going to be like, there's going to be a lot of questions around what private lending, not necessarily what it looks like, because I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but how do you get it? What are people going to ask you for to qualify? And, you know, all the ins and outs of the actual deal as it moves forward. So ask specifics because we will get you answers.
Yeah, I mean, I think I covered that somewhat, but, you know, clearly the sessions we have, you know, it's in our general meetings, typically there are sessions where folks, particularly when we have local individuals who are providing information, you should be asking very specific questions around how things work. Because for those of us who have done things in done real estate investing in different states, it's different when you move from one state to the next. It's a lot different if you're doing private lending and you're down in New York City. You want to know how it works here and what the folks are doing in your neck of the woods. How is it done? You have all the resources right here. All you have to do is ask. It's not any harder than that. So as Andy indicated, you know, pass the questions on for consistency, send them to Susan. And what we'll do is we'll answer your question during the session. I mean, done correctly, you would expect that the folks on the call and those who are interested in knowing more about private lending, they would ask all the questions, and that'll be what we would cover during the session. So, and that's, to me, that's goodness, you know, because you're answering the specific questions that people have. And so please provide us with information so that we can help you be successful. That's what it's all about. So with that said, I'm going to give it back to you, Joe, and we'll go through the pieces associated with non-landlording, or alternative real estate investment strategies, as we like to call it.
All right, perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you. And just so that everybody knows for like next week's call, to add on to what Leon was talking about. Once I understood how private lending or hard money lending worked, I mean, I was able to go after multiple properties to be able to get, because I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for working with hard money or private lenders. So just realize that. I mean, you know, you're able to amass multiple 7 figures worth of real estate, just like Leon said, if you do it properly. And we're going to go over that next week. Okay. So when I first started, I was like, oh man, I don't know anything about it, blah, blah, blah. But once I got it, I got it. So I would encourage you to definitely get on there. Okay.
You know, just to add a little bit, Joe, I mean, what you're saying is absolutely correct. And it's one of those things where when you really understand it, it's like a light switch goes on, you know, because it allows you to do things that you never would think of doing. You wouldn't have the capability to do it. It is one of the more important components of real estate investing that you really need to be able to master. And it's all about how you put it together and all about who it is that you talk to.
I have a question. I can't make the evening appointment or the evening Zoom. Are you going to record that so we can look at it later, or can I just come back and ask questions at the next meeting? Or
yeah, I mean, it's going to be, the question that you're asking is obviously quite valid. The issue that we have is that we've recorded things, but we don't have the facility that allows us to make that available to people at this point in time. It's one of those things that we're working on doing.
Okay.
And so it's not something that I could commit to you and say, yeah, it's something that we're gonna have. But it's something.
I think I can get the last hour of it maybe. So maybe I'll, you know, sometimes it takes a while to build up. So maybe I can come in at the last hour and hear.
Yeah. And you know, clearly you can ask specific questions of folks, you know, like myself or Joe McGuire, you know, other folks that have information about it. I mean, because you know, this is a pretty closely knit group, and so if you come in with a question, whether it's today or tomorrow, we're going to try to answer it. It's not one of these situations where we're sort of holding the cards close to our vests and we're going to say, no, it's not something that that you can do. I lost my screen here. Am I still on?
Yeah.
We can see you.
Okay.
Yep. I just killed the screen share. I figured Dave probably already had his time to go. I wasn't here because I was taking my kid to school. So.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Yeah. So.
Thank you.
We'll try to address the question that you have and try to do as much as we can to get the information to you.
Perfect. All right. Typically, obviously, this is the first year, actually the first meeting of the year here. And typically what we'll do is, again, a great place to network. If you have anything you're looking to sell, anything you are looking to buy, put it out there. I don't care if you're looking to, whether it be flips, rentals, whatever. Let us know what you're looking for. Don't be shy. Anybody out there, put it out there. Who's looking for what? Let us know. Nobody wants a property? I'll take them all. Believe me, I will take them all.
All right, relax.
I start off with wanting a self-storage unit in, you know, down in Texas. So when Scott's driving through there, he can pick up one of those for me.
There you go. Actually, I'll be driving through there next week, driving through Texas. Yeah, like Leon said, I'm looking for self-storage units.
Looking for anything moving.
Anything
$1,000 on it.
Anything.
So, yeah, so he found it, dealt with the owner, and we got it under contract. Now we're gonna take it on, and he's gonna make $20,000. The guy who found it. We're typically looking for facilities that are, when you drive by them, you kind of tell that they're not managed. Maybe they don't have a website, don't have an internet presence, don't even have a Facebook page. We're surprised how many of those we're finding, and you know, so that's what I'm looking for. Something that's a storage facility that's, yeah, even the one that we're picking up in Pennsylvania is 70% occupied, and it's decent, but the owner just, he's had enough and he has some other plans. So, so it's a decent facility that we're picking up. So that's what I'm looking for. And on the sales side, I do have a duplex in Brockport for sale. Asking $139,900 for it. 3 bedrooms on one side, 2 baths, 2 bedrooms and 1 bath on the other side. And so we got that for sale. If you want more information on that, you can, I'll put my phone number in the chat. You can send me a text or whatever, and we could talk more about that one. So that's what I have. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Anybody else looking for anything?
Well, I mean, I'll just speak for myself. I'm always looking for properties that I can rehab or flip in the suburbs, particularly on the eastern side of town. I don't want to get over there in the Spencerport area. I used to live there, and I don't want to get in the way of Scott, you know.
Okay. I know I'm looking for commercial residential properties, and price range doesn't matter. I don't care if it's 7 figures, as long as the numbers work, I'm in. So please let me know. Anybody else looking for properties? Is everybody content with what they have? I guess everybody's content. Wow. By the way, are we able to do breakout rooms at all?
We talked about that this morning, Joe. If we wanted to do breakout rooms, it might actually be more efficient to just pop over to the Kumo space, because that same space we used for the holiday party, we have full time. It's just there. We can go there whenever we want.
What would it be easy to do, or how do you do that?
It would just be a link we'd put up in chat, and everybody would click on it and go there in their browser. So it worked kind of the same way the Christmas party did.
Really? Well, because I didn't know how many people would be able to get, organized. It was like, I was going to figure like 3-4 people per, because there's like 16 people on here right now.
Yeah. We can do that too. Just have Joe set it up. He can just make it random and set it for 3 people per room, and it'll just split everybody up.
Yeah.
So whichever you prefer.
Yeah, because I don't know, sometimes going to a whole other site, I don't know, I figure at least that we'll just do it that way for now, and then next week we can do it next time we can do it that way. Is that okay?
However you want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, the thought was, if we're going to do breakouts, the meeting, a lot of people like to stay after the meeting and talk, and Cuomo would be good for that. Trying to do Cuomo in the meeting, the first meeting of the year without any practice might be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we want to be able to bring it in, and because and by the way, for the people who know what breakout rooms are, they're going to automatically, it's random, 3 or 4 people per breakout room. And I just want to be able to go over a few things. Because look, it's the beginning of the year, and a lot of people are always, and I actually came up with a few questions, because one of the things that everybody at the beginning of the year, everybody wants a new level, everybody wants to do this, everybody wants to do that. And one of the things that I want people to do, not only just introduce yourselves, but also is for the networking. Networking here is key, because it's not about just getting information, it's also connecting with the people to be able to actually help you get information. The breakout rooms are, it's small, it's personal. And but basically, I want people to go over is that, what level, where do you want to be going into 2021? And not only that, what are you going to do, or what do you have to do to get to 2021? And, and basically just be able to expand that, introduce yourselves, start out by, use the first name in alphabetical order. So whoever's, obviously you can figure that out. And then just basically talk about, what you're doing, who you are, what you're looking to do, where you want to be, and what you need to do to get there. That's going to be key. So, and then we'll probably, I don't know how long you guys want to do this for, Andy. What are you thinking, Scott?
I'd say 2 minutes per person. So I guess Joe would set the room up for like 9 minutes so that there could be a couple seconds for everybody to get in the room, and then everybody gets a couple minutes to chat.
Yeah, I would do
Yeah.
at least 12, Andy.
You
It's-
think so?
All right,
Yeah.
let's do
Okay.
that. We'll give everybody 3+ minutes to talk, and then
Yeah,
we'll just
and
go from there.
Here's where it's important to come out or be on video. So you kind of see that face-to-face person. I know I've done it before myself where, I'm not on video and it just doesn't seem to work as well. So if you could bring up video now while we go to the breakout room, that'd be great. And then you can go back to hiding. I have to hide because I'm on Wi-Fi off and on, and my connection's fairly stable, but it just works better. So yeah, if you come off video when you go into the breakout room, that'd be great. And I think the time frame is right. And yeah, Joe Lovebear, I think we have a great idea. Just talk about what we're looking to talk about is your 2021 goals and what you have to do to get there, right, Joe?
Yep. Some people want to do, maybe they want more time, whether they want to do more flips, more wholesales, more rentals, whatever it is you're looking to do. Give everybody talk for like 3 minutes or whatever and go from there.
So, I mean, Andy put up, Joe, sorry, Andy put up in chat the topics for the, and so you can look there and basically you'll see in writing some of the things that you can go over clearly. If you
Okay.
get questions, you can have those as well that you address.
Perfect. All right, let's get started. We're gonna be sent over here.
Well, as soon as Joe has it ready anyway.
Oh, I didn't know how far away it was.
No pressure, Joe.
Joe, are you ready?
Yeah. I couldn't start it too fast or I'd cut you off. So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Breakout room 3. Who am I in with? Hey,
Andy. Who else is here?
looks like we got Lavelle,
Andy,
And
Lavelle,
Diane.
and Donna.
Diane.
Diane. Oh God. Sorry.
Joe,
guys.
I gotta get you a real computer with like 2 monitors so you can see.
Oh my God. Let me tell you. Yeah. So, all right. Andy, you're 8. You
I'm
go
A.
first.
All right, so I'm Andy McQuaid. I am a full-time consultant. I am working for FFREIA to bring them into 2021 digitally, and we've hired a marketing firm and done some other stuff to kind of get the word out for membership. But what I actually do is I work with property management firms to help them control costs on their maintenance, repair, and operations budget. So anything that has to do with capital improvements, rehabs, flips, you name it. I don't do a lot with new construction anymore. I don't do a lot with house flippers because it's a different it's a different approach. I work almost exclusively with buy and hold. Let's see, I spent almost 11 years at 84 Lumber. In the beginning of my career, I spent almost 11 years at Home Depot as a district manager over B2B pro sales. And then I ran sales for a firm that does reclaimed hardwoods and softwoods for flooring and paneling right here in Rochester, actually. But we had presence in Japan, Canada, Mexico, and the US. So I ran a sales team across the planet for a year. And then I did this. So decided that was not what I wanted to do. I missed property management, and I'm really good at it. So I'm here. So what do I want to do for 2021? More clients on retainers, more big projects. I just actually pitched a big deal to a property manager with 720 units in Erie, Pennsylvania. It's the largest apartment complex in Erie. I've already done 2 projects for him. I got him $30,000 out of Home Depot for a bunch of bad light fixtures. Had them just write a check because the product failed. So I got him to cover parts and labor because the stuff died within 16 months. I did a project for him just going through his operational stuff and found in his budget a cap improvement project he can do that will cut his water bill by $85,000 a year on a property where they only spend $330,000 a year in water and sewer combined. So 85 grand a year is pretty quick payoff. He'll actually, the ROI on the project, it'll cost him about $250,000, and he'll be able to pay that off in 24 months. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then operationally, I found him another 35 grand a year in cuts that he can make without actually having to fire anybody or really change what he's doing. Just do things a little smarter. So
I mean, obviously, it sounds to me like you're definitely helping people save money to help get more business. What else are you doing?
well, a lot of it comes down to what do I need to do? I need to get better at actually advertising more and getting out in front of people. Like, I was busy all last year, so it was not a huge deal. Now I'm like, all right, I need like 3 or 4 more projects. So I've been talking to some more people, that I had contact with when I was at Depot, and a lot of my old clients have moved on to other things. So I'm talking to them at their new positions and whatnot. And it's just getting in front of people and pitching it, which is not exactly the easiest thing to do in the COVID world. But, we're going to do whatever needs to be done. So I relaunched my website. My personal blog is back up at andymcquaid.com. I have a bunch of articles on there. Most of them are outdated. Well, not outdated. They're still relevant, but I only did like 4 in 2019, and I did like 3 or 4 in 2020. So now I'm going to do 1 a week. That's my goal. And then my business website is almost completely back up and running. It was down for about 1.5 years because I wasn't really looking for work because I was busy. So, but now I actually have to have an actual landing page with a real website if I'm going to grow this thing and scale it up and start hiring people to help me so I don't have to do everything myself.
Perfect. Man, you need a breath after that one.
I know, right?
That's fantastic. Heck yeah. And a lot of people I've been talking to have been, we've all agreed, all out massive action, and GOYA, get off your ass. And that's exactly what you're doing.
That's got to do it. I can't not. There's too many people right now. Property managers who are holding are starving.
Yes,
starving. And the trick is, how much money can I save them versus what they have to pay me?
There you go. That's it. Perfect, Andy. I appreciate you sharing.
Absolutely.
And I'll get to Diane, not Donna. Diane.
Diane. Hey guys. I am a realtor as well as a kitchen designer. My goals I'm looking to do this year, I've bought a home, my home I live in, on a land contract. So I only have 3 more years to pay that off. So I don't know if private lending does a long-term mortgage. So basically what I'm doing is I went back to doing kitchen design full-time at McKenna's right now to just build up some income that looks like a mortgage, like a bank would want to finance me for my home. I also own a 4 family building that I rent out. And luckily for me, I've been getting the rents all through this whole thing. So that's been good. So what do I want to do in 2021? I'd like to buy another property. I'd like to mortgage my home so I feel secure here. And then, whether I stay with the kitchen design, which I enjoy, I'll be doing that for a while. I do have a an investor who's looking to buy houses in the city for cheap if he can find it. So that's one thing that he's looking for. And I'm looking for something more in the outskirts, somewhere where I would want to live that I could buy and rent out. So what do I need to do to get to my goals is keep coming and listening and learning. That's how I found my first property, was listening to Scott, some of his things he was putting on as far as, you know, going through equity trust and putting my IRA there. I'm also looking to take some of that money and perhaps lend it to someone until I find a home that, or a property I want to buy. And I don't know if you guys are still doing that or not, but I'm interested in that too, of lending some money, whether it's, you know, in a group or whatever. I'm not sure I have enough.
I'm always interested in that, Diane.
Pardon me?
Everybody's always interested in that. So
Everybody is. Yeah.
everybody's here. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So everybody, wait, say that again, Joe. So everybody's interested in lending money?
No, everybody's interested in talking to a lender. As soon as you say you have money to lend, everybody, or you're going to get everybody's ear. They're all going to want to talk to you. You'll have football.
Okay, well, I'm ready because I have several thousand to lend. Not enough to buy a whole house, but enough to go in and make some money on. So yeah, I'd love to do that.
So basically, you're going to try definitely seeing about which you know, connecting more and networking more. I mean, and by the way, in regards to what your buyer has, sounds to me like you want to do more business to be able to get yourself secure, get your house situated, and then obviously work your and keep the W-2 for the bank, and then figure out what you want to do.
Right. Right.
As far as for your buyer, you should have put that out there to that group of 16 that was on there.
I know, I gotta learn to speak up.
Yeah, you do. Because the ones that speak up are the ones that make the most money. And by the way, I have both of those. Okay.
Okay.
I am one of them. I know Lavelle is. I mean, I don't know if Andy, I know Andy gets access to all of the people who buy and hold, but these people also want to sell stuff.
Yep.
You don't think he comes across stuff people want to get rid of? But don't worry, Diane, don't say a word, because I want all the properties. Have them all go through me.
I'm
Go ahead.
not good at competing, but I'm gonna get better. All right, I'm done.
And by the way, Diane, we're not beating you up. I want to see you be able to succeed and do more. And that's why, you know, it's really important to connect. You understand, I have made most of my business through the networking part of this group.
That's
Just
great.
by me saying, hey, I need this. And, you know, unless you want to keep chasing it.
No, that's okay. I'd love to just be out there and let it happen.
Okay. I'm going to go next. I'm going to be, well, because I want to make sure I don't know how much time we have left. Andy, do you know?
No, I can't see a timer, but it's got to be getting close, I think. So why don't we let Lavelle
I'm going to let Lavelle go. And then if there's time for me, I'll go. Lavelle?
Hey, Joe, how are you guys doing?
All right, go ahead.
Thanks for having me. My name is Lavelle Lewis. My background, of course, is with wholesaling. I actually started from, learning with Joe about 10 years ago, I would say, close to that, maybe 9 or so. Started in the real estate, had no choice because I got canned from RG&E back when the housing crisis hit. Don't know how that, factored into laying people off because it was with the housing crisis, not gas and electric, but whatever, which probably was the best thing that ever happened to me because I had a whole lot of time on my hands to learn the game of real estate. So started off in the wholesaling with Joe for a bunch of years earlier on. Definitely had to take some time off due to, taking care of family and all other stuff. And just now getting right back in the swing of things. I just picked up a property the other day that I'm starting to close on. It's a double. So I want to get into more, holding properties, actually definitely do some rehabs this year as well. Try and expand more marketing, networking, getting more, getting back into the swing of things, talking to people, getting more aligned with the investor meetings, learning more about, private lending, getting in contact with lenders like yourself, Diane, who wants to lend some cash. Like Joe said, like my ears perked up like, oh, there's more money out there. So I appreciate that. And, just looking forward to get more stuff, man. As far as holds, anything within just the, general Rochester area, rehabs just around the suburban area. And I'm a sponge. I love learning new stuff, and I love, applying my knowledge any way I can, and just looking to grow within this business. It's a remarkable thing that we have right now. And so I hope we're able to preserve it, in the long run. Yeah, that's just me in a nutshell. There's a lot more to come, that's for sure. If I can pick up something in the next month or so, I'll be ecstatic. So I'm definitely on the hunt for that. And looking to use the leverage that we have over here and expand out into this real estate game. So if I can, let me move this back so my camera's all off.
There you go.
You guys see me well? I'm looking
Yeah,
at my
you're fine,
chin.
Rob.
Make sure you see more than my face. There we go.
All right.
My chin, like I don't.
So Lavelle, what are you going to do? You want to pick up another property in a month,
Mm-hmm.
4 Saturdays from now. What are you going to do?
Well,
How you
just
gonna do it?
well, keep banging out the lists that I have, different resources of potential leads. Working the spreadsheets that I have, contacting, doing a bunch of direct mail campaigns, a bunch of cold calls. Definitely getting into cold calling. Just trying to do my own marketing as much as I can until it starts to generate a lot more leads. So just staying active and staying consistent with with that aspect. Closed mouths don't get fed. So people don't know I'm here to buy and ready to work. I'll never make any money. So that's
And
what
by the
I'm
way,
doing.
Lavelle, where was that double that you bought? Like, was it 19th Ward or Maplewood?
19th Ward. It was the
Okay,
19th
that's
Ward.
right.
Oh,
Oh,
here we go.
Done over here.
1 minute.
Yep, it's 19th Ward. It's a double in 19th Ward. Great
Yeah,
find. It was.
I may actually have you possibly, depending on if we have time, share that.
Okay.
You guys are not going to believe the deal that Lavelle put together, because I'm floored by it. Just unbelievable. But how much time do we have left here? I mean, we got 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
That was fast. Well,
30 seconds.
we'll see what actually we'll see if everybody wants to expand on what they talked about, and then if we have time, we might even talk to have Lavelle expand a little bit real briefly on what he's able, because people are telling me they can't find this, they can't find that. Andy, when you hear what he did, you're gonna fall down.
Not showing my face.
Yeah. Somebody need to do
Whatever.
Joe's hair too. Did you see his hair this morning?
I know. No, I tried. Oh, well.
Yeah, we were having a pretty in-depth discussion there, so we'll have to, I don't know what the best vehicle is to continue the discussion. You might want to, you said you've been working with Joe Lababera, so you might want to touch base with him with some of those specific questions. I mean, clearly, most of us that you see here are willing to help you address some of the items that you are needing to address as you basically get started in real estate investing. So I'm going to give the room back to Joe, and let's sort of continue the meeting and get into the specific questions.
Joe, you're muted. Unmute yourself, bro.
Here I am. I'm not technical, man. I'm sorry. I thought it automatically unmuted me.
You're fine.
Hopefully the breakout rooms gave everybody a chance to actually introduce themselves, meet other people, and at least start a dialogue with everybody. Okay. And just to expand on that, if anybody has anything that they want to talk about, or any other questions that they have that, possibly looking to get answered, that you didn't get answered in breakout rooms, put it out there, ask, because look, this is a very open forum. So Anybody have anything that they want to go over that they didn't get quite finished on the breakout rooms?
Me,
Who's me?
Lucretia.
Oh, Lucretia, how are you? Go ahead.
Okay, so I was asking Leon, well, my breakout group, like he had mentioned good areas and bad areas, and I know you told me that you invest from, you know, Avenue D to Park Avenue. However, I see some neighborhoods where there's a lot of room for improvement, especially like some like the historical neighborhoods like that have entry points into downtown. But it's like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm kind of stuck because it's like those people have to have somewhere to go. But then it's like, you know, are investors looking to help improve areas or just looking for it's already got money there? You know what I'm saying? Like these people right now, maybe there's a poor element there, but if you start investing in an area to help change it, then you know you help bring up the area so that it's not.
It's a slow process.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
see.
That's the deal, because so there, and this is just me, so I've seen a lot of real estate development and I've worked with a lot of those value add guys who turn neighborhoods around in my career, and they'll focus, like you said, on one area that needs it, that has potential, that's in a good location, and they'll turn it around. So if you were to be like Neighborhood of the Arts 25 years ago, was nothing like it is today. And it's because there was a dedicated group of investors that turned East Ave around, that went into the Neighborhood of the Arts and really drove that one home. So you go into Neighborhood of the Arts now, it's Dutton, it's Webster, it's 4 or 5 other larger guys that went in and bought blocks. They went in and they bought 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 houses, and they all kind of agreed that this is what they were going to do, and they were going to turn it around, and then it attracted more people. And now Neighborhood of the Arts is, it's money. So that's really where it starts, and it's finding, where the slumlords are and where the good investors are going, and staying away from those slumlords because they have no interest in turning a neighborhood around.
Yeah, and it's a lot of them. It's way more of them than there are good
Correct.
investors. So that's
why we're here. This group is the good investors.
Yeah, so one of the things that we were, before we go further, Andy, you used the terminology, but describe the area you're talking about. I mean, it seems like people are afraid to talk about specific streets and things of that sort. So where's the area? I know where the area is, but give the people a little bit detailed information.
So Neighborhood of the Arts is East Central, not quite Park Ave, East Ave. It's University West and kind of north. If you get to Culver, you've gone too far.
So the point that Andy was making is I actually I'm actually rehabbing a house not that far from that. It's basically in that, close to that particular area right now. And one of the things that I mentioned to Latricia was the fact that you like to be able to invest and look for properties on the fringe. So I thought that I had this idea about fringe investing, and it was a terminology that I was using way back 15 years ago. And then I noticed that in Bigger Pockets, someone stole my idea. Let's just put it this way. They had a similar idea, which was the same. And basically what you're doing is you're looking for the good area and the bad area, and you want to invest on the fringe. And that's basically what the individuals did that Andy was talking about. But they bought up a large piece of property, several folks, and then they basically worked together. Now, we did something similar to that because I was talking about a rooming house that I own, and basically on that particular street, 4 real estate investors that's part of Freedom First bought houses on that street. And the price of the houses on that street went up in value. And we selected that area Well, I actually selected an area and a couple of people moved, which just happened to sort of all come together. And the price of the area went up substantially. So and it was as much luck as it was anything else, but it was clearly picked because of the fact that we were trying to invest on the French. Now, so why we're talking about this? We're talking about this because of the fact that if you are looking for a place where you can add value and that it's really going to make a difference, then you're looking to do fringe and invest on the French between the good area and the bad area. And so and an area that's coming up. So we knew that this area was coming up. Why? We knew because of the fact that the city of Rochester was putting a whole bunch of money into it. And the city of Rochester is still putting a whole bunch of money into it. So, it's a fringe between the good area and the bad area. And it, it's, it's going beyond just the standard, okay, this area looks okay. You got other help and support. Probably getting into a little bit of too much detail here, but that's one of the ways of finding areas. But in most cases, as a real estate investor and investing broadly, you want to look at the area and then decide whether or not there's really a deal there for you, because the areas that are really bad, there's still people who buy properties in those areas. And investors that buy property in those areas, in a lot of cases, they're going to go in and they're going to buy it, and then they're not going to necessarily be slumlords. They're going to be individuals who really want to provide decent housing for folks, and that's really all that you really can do. So, but the value is important, and if you're on the fringe, then you're maximizing the value of that particular property, given rents and other things associated with it.
Did it answer your question, Lucretia?
It did. So now it helps me to narrow down my the neighborhoods. Because remember I told you I'm from this city, so I go around all the parks and stuff like that. It's like that inner pocket, especially on the northeast side. Like there's so much, like you were talking about commercial. So a lot of it over there, but I don't know if they're being realistic about what they're asking for versus what is yet to come, because I've seen a couple of like right on the corner of Avenue D and Conkey and on the corner of Avenue D and Hudson, like them building housing developments over there, right there on Upper Falls, by downtown, going into downtown. Yeah. So they put all that money into that charter school and stuff. But like I said, that area is where it has a lot of potential because there's decent houses over there, but you got an element of people that's been there for a long time,
It's like Andy says, it's slow. At the same time, it just depends on what your exit strategy is, in regards to what you're looking to do. You just got to buy it right. I know, like right now on Clinton, down by Clinton Avenue, I know investors are starting to go down toward Clinton Avenue, Sullivan Street area, all that, because the city's putting a ton of money in that area there. So I know people are starting to gravitate toward that area there. I looked at a property over there, but they had issues with the tenants, and so I couldn't do anything with it, but you could see all the development, and, just all you got to do is see what the city is doing. So you got to get along with that. And you got to be careful too. I tell people, don't go into saying, well, I'm going to gamble. It's not a question of gambling. The house that I was looking at, I was going to get it at my price, or I wasn't going to touch it, because I knew it was going to be, I knew whoever, I wasn't going to keep it. I was going to wholesale it out to somebody, but their plan was for long term. Okay. And, and then you'll see it's like some of the people are getting priced out, like over there on Culver and Atlantic Ave area there and Main Street area, the west side of that. People are getting priced out of the east side of the North Winton Village, 14609. So now people are gravitating toward the west part of it, and the prices over there are starting to increase. People are actually starting to put more money into it. And I know a gentleman, he picked up a double over there for 35,000. I know what he paid for it because I assigned it to him for that price. He rehabbed it. I'll bet you he put 30,000 maybe into this property, 35, and I know it's worth around 120 grand. He's happy. And as a matter of fact, he bought the house right next door to it too. That was another double. So you can start to see where people are starting to buy because they're looking for the best deal, and they want to be able to, he's going to hold this long term, but he also knows if he has to get out, he's got a good exit strategy, whether it's short term, make a quick buck, or hold it long term because he wants to build his portfolio. So you just got to be able, and by the way, through this group, everybody can connect to see where they're buying. Okay. And by the way, I started finding out about North Clinton Avenue, Sullivan Street, not because I go to the City of Rochester website. I don't have time for that. Plus I hate computers, but more importantly, it's because I found out through people in this group. And then the same thing happened with over there on like the west side of Culver Road, because people were starting to gravitate toward that area there. And I started seeing a lot of the other investors there. So I just figured out, okay, where are they at? And I started asking, I go, why are you buying over there? And I started finding out what they were actually making over there. And I said, okay, now I get it.
So, just to interject a little bit, Joe, I think that the pieces you're talking about are very important, but the thing that people may not understand is you're talking about two different price points, North Winton versus Sullivan Street,
Yes.
And the difficulty that I think a lot of people will have is how do you evaluate one area versus the other, because the numbers change drastically. And being a person with a scientific background and having a deep belief in numbers, I'll tell you, if the numbers don't work, and the numbers really drive the right answer particularly in the area we're talking about. So $35,000 is a great price for a property over in the North Winton area. It is not a great price for a property at the corner of Sullivan and North Clinton Avenue. Okay?
Yes, right.
So you have to be able to switch your thought process, and as a part of that thought process as well, you need to look at it and say, well, does it really make sense to buy in this particular area? Okay. Now, if you're wholesaling, you could always take the approach of, well, I don't really care, but you really do. And the reason why you really do is because of the fact that if the numbers don't work, that person you're wholesaling to, it's not going to work for them, and you wasted a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to be able to look at it and say, yeah, this is a good deal. This is something that makes sense. I can wholesale it to my buyers list, and it's going to go immediately because all the numbers work. The area is the right area for these numbers. And so that's really sort of the mindset that you have to have. Another way of looking at it at more of an extreme, it's going to buy the Empire State Building in New York City. That's a lot different than deciding, oh, I'm going to buy a property on Sullivan Street and Clinton Avenue. But it really is the same process, same sort of thinking. The difference is the numbers aren't that far apart as it is with the Empire State Building, but you're still doing the same thing. Okay, the numbers just don't have as many zeros behind it, but you still need to be able to evaluate it and understand that in this particular area, this property, it really makes sense to buy, to get it under contract and to sell it to someone else. assign it to someone else is really the right words to use.
Yeah, I get it, you know, and like that one over there and on the west side of Culver by Atlantic that I sold to that guy, I got it under price, under contract, where I didn't care if it was going to go up or not. I knew it was. I just basically want, in my mind, I'm like, okay, even if it doesn't go up, is it still going to be a good deal? And at that place, it was, no matter what. Worst case scenario was worth 70, 80,000 bucks. He's into for like 60, 65,000. The numbers still work. So I don't like to speculate. So anybody looking at, you know, trying to figure that out, yes, Leon's right. Every area is going to be different. Every area is,
Yep.
You know?
I just had a deal come across my desk that I'm shopping right now for a couple of people. It's a piece of land, about 17 acres in Chelsea in Massachusetts, and it's right on the water. It overlooks Boston. It's 19 million bucks, plus the brokerage fee, 5%. So basically 20 million bucks. I shopped it to a few people in Rochester that are big names and that go into that market, and they're still sitting on it, but it's got a retail of 30. And if it's developed out, it's been approved for 600 units and some mixed use office space, shopping, hospital, medical, et cetera, on about 3 acres of the property. But you could probably turn it in a year for $50 million. So, I mean, it's a hot deal if you got the 20 million sitting around. So the guys I reached out to, I've worked with in the past, and they're thinking about it, but if it doesn't sell by February, it's going to go on the market for about 33. So, you know, but it's all about playing the game and knowing your numbers. They're trying to get rid of it because it's owned by a firm out of China that wants to get out of the US completely.
Wow. Well, there's deals to be had.
There is, absolutely.
It's a good
Deep
thing to hear
pockets.
China want to get out.
It's a nice change, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, the last year and the first part of this year hasn't been the greatest for folks who have the American dream, and with all the challenges we got. So, I mean, it's the same. The process that Andy talked about, it's the same as it would be for the properties that are in the areas that we're just talking about. You know, Sullivan Street versus North Winton. The difference is that the zeros at the end is different, but it really is the same process. I mean, and so let's sort of bring it together a little bit. So now, Latricia, when we were talking before, you sort of laid out a broad game plan, and that broad game plan basically had you being I use the word sufficient from a real estate investing standpoint. And I know you've been working with Joe Labavera to basically get started. But let me just sort of be more direct, otherwise it'll get sort of convoluted. Joe Labavera is where he is right now. He started off doing wholesaling, but he does wholesaling still, but he also buys and hold properties. He's always doing deals of his own, and so he covers the whole gamut, and from a real estate investing standpoint, you know, there's not too many areas that he's not dealing in, but he started off with wholesaling. So to get to your goals that you had outlined from a freedom standpoint and a number standpoint, it's going to take time to get there. So to do that means that there's a lot of pieces that you need to master and go at, not necessarily at a slow pace. The pace is really one that you're able to do. I mean, and in a lot of cases, able to do means, okay, are you working another job? Are you doing other things that don't allow you to spend the time to actually do real estate at more of a full time? And I hesitated there because I'm going to give an example. Most of the people here know Barrington. So, so he was a real estate investor. He's a real estate investor now, still part of Freedom First. And basically, he came to me, and we have to go back roughly 6 years. And I'm saying this, and I'm being open with it, because if he was right here, he would say yes. And he and I have had this discussion with this group many times before. But what happened was, he and I sat down, and basically he worked at Home Depot. And when he was working at Home Depot, he worked in the evenings, and he was free during the daytime. And so he wanted to be a real estate investor. And so he asked me to help him. So I met with him for 6 months every Monday. And we went over what was needed to be able to do wholesaling. Okay, so after 6 months, he stopped working at Home Depot, and he just started doing real estate investing. And that was 6 or 7 years ago. And he still does real estate investing right now. That's his job. That's the main thing that he does. But he was able to have time to do it because of his situation, because he was working at a Home Depot, but he was doing stocking of the buildings at night, and during the daytime he was free. He had his time to do all the stuff that he needed to do from a real estate investing standpoint. And so he's very successful at it. He buys and holds, he does wholesaling, he does the whole gamut. And I think that's what you were saying that you wanted to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so it is possible. That's one of the reasons why I mentioned that, but it does take time, and it does take effort, and it's not easy, okay? For anyone who thinks it's easy, they're in the wrong game. So I've been talking a lot. I better shut up here.
And don't forget where Barrington found his business partner.
Right here.
Yep, Freedom First.
Yep.
That's a great point, Andy. Great point. Otherwise, anyone else have anything that they want to talk about that they didn't get a chance to finish talking about in the breakout rooms, or any questions, or even expand on what Lucretia was talking about, or Andy or Leon?
Now, Joe, you broke down private, like a typical, or not typical, hypothetical way of going into a private lending situation for a flip. So I know you said, like, you know, sometimes a lender will probably want you to put like 30% down. How realistic is it to not go so high as 30%, maybe 5 or 10%, and put in sweat equity? Like, so that, you know, like, if somebody like me who doesn't have a whole lot of cash to start with, but very good with their hands and can get a lot of stuff done, you know, things like that or whatever. Like,
Well,
I just have a hard time really asking for money.
I just answer that question. There's Joe McGuire and Scott Spear, and I think also Leon, I know, does lending. I'll let them tell you what their lending criteria or parameters are. Everybody's different. So one of you three, or all three of you.
I'm gonna interject one comment here, and then I'm gonna let those guys talk. You know, so it really is associated with the deal and how it's structured and how you put it together. One of the things that we're talking about private lending, but there's a component that is outside of private lending that is key. And that portion is being able to do joint ventures. Because when you bring those two things together, the amount of power that you have just goes up exponentially. So when you do it that way, you don't need to have any money that you put into it. You know, if you have the right deal, the money will find you.
Yep, that's the deal. So almost every single out of market shop that I get across my desk that's not on the market, that's private. Every single one of them is guys either looking to sell outright or looking for partners for a JV to make something happen. So when you look at like Bob Morgan, almost every property that man has owned, 300 and something apartment complexes in 17 states, every one of them is a joint venture. He does not 100% own anything. Everything is a partner with somebody. You don't get that big that fast with your own money and sweat equity. You find people who are good at things to help you.
Okay.
Scott, Joe, I don't know if Scott's still on or not, or
Can you see me on video?
there
Yep.
you are.
Yep, you're there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm still on. Well, funny thing is, Joe Lavera tells Joe McGuire and I to talk, but Joe Lavera's got more money than both of us combined.
That's such
So
a
he
lie.
certainly, oh, get out of here. He should be
Scott's
doing some
fair
money
uses
lending. And
bags of money instead
I
of
know he does some
bags.
partnering and stuff, so, yeah. But honestly, for us, we kind of look at experience. We look at the person, we look at the experience, we look at the deal. You know, let's face it, when I started, I was paying a higher interest rate on private money than I potentially do now. You know, just because I had to kind of prove myself, get out there, prove myself. And with the money lending, I know there's people out there charging 16% interest, 20% interest. And honestly, if the deal and the numbers work, so what if your private lender's making 16%, you know, if the numbers work for you? You know, and I know a lot of people get hung up on that interest rate. But that's what we look at. And then we have to look at the deal too. If I have to take the house back, it's going to cost me $20,000 at least to take it back if I have to foreclose on somebody. Is there enough? I'm going to say, is there enough in the deal? Is the house worth 100 and I'm loaning 50 on it? You know, then I potentially could take that risk of foreclosing for $20,000. I don't want to. I never want to. I, knock on wood, haven't had to. But if I did, I got to protect myself and protect my investors too. So that's what I look at when I look at lending out. So Joe McGuire, I'll let you go ahead and talk.
Actually, I like your explanations. Is this on? Yes, I like your explanation, Scott. I first look at the person. Person is important to me, and I don't want to get into, because we have this next week. I don't want to get into a lot on it. And Lucretia, you know, we need to be here next Thursday night. But the person is very important to me. And I turned down more deals because of the person than, and the next thing is the deal. Everybody's going to make $1 million on every house. But I kind of look at it that if this person doesn't, what do I do with it? And do I want it? Do I want that house? Can I take care of that house? And there's a few houses or a number that I've looked at and said, this is a great deal. They're going to make a ton of money. But if they don't, this is beyond what I can do. And so I'm not really interested in it because I don't want to own that property. You know, without going into the story, the one down in Florida, which was not mine, it was a big commercial deal, is people couldn't complete it and nobody wanted it because it was too big. It was a big commercial thing and it was too big for people to handle. So I agree with Scott. I look at the person. The experience is part of the person, and the deal. And is it realistic? Is it going to work? Can the person do it? And you had another thought with that. Yeah, you know, I know. The important part is, you know, some people call me that day and go, hey, I've got this great deal, you know. Who are you? I don't know you from Adam. and it's not to say I haven't done those deals, but they're more work, they're harder, there's more analysis that goes into it than if it's somebody who I already know and have some knowledge of. It's an easier transaction, or at least it's an easier answer. So that's my take on it right now. But the other thing I was going to say is, if you talk to 10 different lenders, you're going to get 15 different opinions as to what to do or what they do. And honestly, I've got different criteria for somebody that I don't know versus somebody I've done a number of transactions with. The more transactions, the easier it is.
Great. Did that answer your question, Lucretia?
That did. So I just need to get the experience. That's just
that,
what
and
I
you
said.
got it, and you have to introduce yourself to these people. Go to just show up at Joe's house, say hi, Lucretia. And I tell you that to Scott, but Scott right now is in California. Yeah.
What time is the meeting next Thursday? I'm sorry, I wrote it down and I put it in the calendar, but I put it in for the
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott, I don't know if anything you wanted to talk about or go over, by the way.
No, I'm good. I'd like to hear if other people have questions. I know there's, like you said, some new people and even some experienced people. One thing I will say, and this is a little landlordish, is next week in the morning, they're having a landlord meeting, and it'd probably be wise to attend it. There's been some real changes in landlord laws, and you might want to investigate that. I don't want to get into detail on this meeting. It's just way too much. But yeah, what other questions do people have? What other things do people have going on? Who has a 2021 goal that they might want to share? So go ahead. I'm good on questions. What do other people have?
Well, if nobody else has questions, there's a couple of housekeeping things that need to be done.
Up to you.
All right. I just put a link in the chat box. If you go to the bottom of your screen and hit the chat button, there is a survey. If you have not taken the survey that we sent out last month, please do so. That is how we came about the idea of doing private lending for this meeting next week. And it was such a hot response. We had, at the time, we had about 70 responses that had come back, and overwhelmingly everybody responded, we don't understand private lending. We need some tools. Let's do it. So that's why this topic was picked. We're becoming much more responsive with how we deal with our topics for the general meetings and how we're treating speakers and whatnot that are coming in. This survey tells us and gives us the information that A, you understand what FFREIA is and what we're doing, and B, what you want to hear and what you want to see. So super important that if you have not taken the survey that we sent out via email, this link is the exact same survey. If you've already done it, don't do it again. Nothing's going to change, regardless. If you have already taken it, thank you. If not, then that's there. And we also have a members only Facebook group that we are kicking off. It's been around for a while. It's only got like 25 people in it. We need you to join that group because it is members only. We're not letting people in who have not paid their dues. It is a place for you to share deals and network and ask questions and stuff offline between meetings. If you go to the Freedom First Facebook page, the link to the group is right in there. And we also have one on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, I really suggest you get there because it is more and more becoming where business networking and things are being done. It is not a job search networking site anymore. It is about 90% of it is now doing deals. The job search and recruiting thing is a part of it, but it's a very minor part now compared to what people are doing. So
That's it.
That's it. I'm done.
Perfect.
Let me just add a little bit on to what it is that Andy is talked about. I mean, clearly covered some of the most important pieces, but um, prior to COVID, clearly we operated in a different way and had a different approach to things. What we're trying to do right now is we're trying to retool and do it in a way that allows people to continue to be successful as real estate investors. And that means that we must continue to add value. And so the survey and other things of that sort is there so that we can get input back around what it is that people really want to hear and what it is that we can do so that we make people successful. Because that's what we are really about, right? It's about us doing things and doing networking so that people can be successful. Clearly one of the things that we're looking at is, for example, these meetings are basically, you could say that they're free somewhat, because, people can get on and they can basically get information. But we really need to have people be members, because if everybody is not a member, then it's really hard for us to function. And so having the in-person meetings was important because it allowed us to interact with people and network with people, and the value proposition from the standpoint of the money someone paid to become a member was pretty straightforward. So, I'm not sure that we ever go back to a time period where everything is in-person meetings. We're going to be doing things that are probably going to be virtual, probably forever, some component of it. What amount, we don't know. We're going to morph and change and do whatever is necessary so that we keep our members happy. But, a long way of saying, you're going to see things change, and we're going to be changing it the way that you want it to be. But to do that, you really need to go into things like the survey and let us know what your thoughts are. If it's something that you think is great, then you need to let us know that. If it's something that you don't think is worth anything, then just say this ain't worth squat. Okay, because we use that to drive what it is that we do and how we're going to be doing things in the future. So, and you'll see us doing a lot more of things on social media and those sorts of things. And so we're being forced to, and we should be doing anyway on a constant and ongoing basis, changing things so that we make things better. And that's what the objective is. So I just wanted to just add a couple of words there. And thanks to Andy and Joe and Susan and all the things that are being done to improve things and operate in this new environment that we have.
And the survey takes 5 minutes, so you really don't have any excuses.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and the survey helps all of us. It really does. Because there's things you guys are going to put on there that we don't even think of. Some of us have experience, and we're new at one time, but the survey really helps everybody. So I know we have a ton of members, and I'd like to see 3/4 of the members fill out that survey to kind of help make us better for everybody. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. All the housekeeping all set? Take that as a yes. I know it's about 10:30 right now, so I think we're going to be wrapping up over here. But I mean, I'll stick around here for a few more minutes in case someone has any questions. We try to keep it to about 10:30ish. I appreciate everybody showing up on the first meeting of 2021. Let's make it a great year. Put last year behind us and let's just keep moving forward. Everybody have a great day. Go do real estate. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Joe, can I call you later today?
No, just
Why
kidding.
not?
Yes, you can.
What time you open today?
Open. Oh gosh, you probably call me after 12 o'clock-ish.
What about later? Like,
That's fine.
okay, I'll call you like around 4:30.
That's fine.
All right, thank you, sir.
Just want to say thank you to Scott and to Joe for helping us all out by leading this session.
Yeah. And Scott woke up before 6 o'clock in the morning just to get on this call.
Yeah, he
He
did.
deserves all the
Wait.
credit.
What time zone are you in?
He's in California.
You're muted. Are you still in California? Okay.
Unmute yourself, Scott.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I muted myself. Yeah, I'm still in California, leaving out next week. We're going to Arizona next week. We'll be there for a week. Maybe a little bit longer, then down into Texas over Houston way. Believe it or not, Leon.
Yes,
Have some
great
relatives
city,
down there.
Houston.
There you go.
Where I was born and raised.
There you go. And then we're going to go up to Louisiana, and then down into Florida, up to Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and then into New York. So that's our plan. But yeah, I got up 5:30 my time to jump on the call with you guys. So I was excited about it. First one of the year, really excited. Glad for the turnout that we had for it. And I look to have more people on next one. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, we would like to have more people on. I mean, we have, right around 200 members. So you would expect that we would have more folks, but this is the morning session. So, maybe that's part of the reason why, but 40 members, that's probably the goal that we would have from the standpoint of the number of people that will be engaged. So we'll work on that, and hopefully the survey will get us some input back around some of the things that we can do different. Maybe we should be having the meeting at lunchtime instead of first thing in the morning. Who knows? But you never know. Scott, you're shaking your head. You never know until you get the input back. So I wasn't saying that was the right answer, Scott. I was saying, basically you never know until you get the input back. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a couple of people who, in the ideal world, you would want people to take the next step, and really ask the questions that are going to help them be successful. And, so everybody's at a different level, but the more that you ask questions and get involved, I think it basically really does help everyone. So Appreciate, thank you for getting involved in asking specific questions and allowing us to provide you input. And by doing that, it really helps everyone else who is too shy to ask the question.
No problem. Thank you guys for helping me. I want to really make this into something. Well, I actually am making it into something, but I appreciate, you guys creating a forum for someone like me who's always been passionate about real estate, but getting into this world, it seems like it's like a secret society. So thank you for welcoming me in.
It's easy to get into. It's called work.
I know. I do
it.
know that.
All right.
So before we get off, and I'm not sure that people are aware of some of the stuff that you're posting in the chat room, because unless they are fairly familiar with how Zoom works, they won't probably see that. So, but posted in is the Facebook link is there that Andy posted, There's some other questions and stuff that was posted. So take a look at chat. Once you get out of Zoom, it's gone. It's gone. That's the unfortunate part of it.
Okay.
So, and then, you know, folks have some of their phone numbers and contact information. So it's everybody get up to speed on Zoom. I mean, I'm not a guru at it like Andy is, but you know, it's one of those things that allows us to help each other.
All right.
All right. Everybody's all set?
I think so.
All right.
Great meeting, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks for coming,
everybody.
everybody.
Okay, have a great day.
Have a
Thanks,
great
everybody.
day.
Happy New Year. Have a good one.
You too.